Now, moving on to the Boston Red Sox. Big news that came out of Fenway was that Alex Bregman has officially opted out of his contract. And now a lot of people, and Bregman has opted out and is going to test free agency. Okay. Him testing free agency is to get a long-term deal because he would, if he opted in this year, it would have been 40. Next year also would have been 40, but then that would have been it. So while he's got 2 years at 40 million guaranteed, he wants a long-term extension at the cost of that 40 million. According to some sources, all signs are pointing to him coming back. All right. It's not hard to see. There are plenty of guys on X who are in the know, who are saying that it's a likelihood that he will be back. If he were to leave, and the thing is, he's also a Scott Boras client. Scott Boras clients are not easy. He will do everything in his power to squeeze teams for as much money as possible. And that's where his client will go. Alex Bregman, if God forbid he were to leave and take the role of the modern day Adrian Beltre, and for those you remember, you remember. Our infield is awful. It is god awful because if Trevor Story, who also has the ability to opt out, decides to stay another year and opt in for his final year, this is what our lineup looks like as of today. You have Marcelo Meyer and Nate Eaton at third. At shortstop, you have Trevor Story and David Hamilton. At second, Nick Sogard and David Hamilton. And at first, you have Romy Gonzalez and Tristan Casas, who we don't even know if Tristan Casas is going to play baseball again, let alone be back for the start of the 2026 season. And yes, I left out Nathaniel Lowe because even though he did sign a one-year deal, his status with the Red Sox right now is in limbo. So if he does come back, I think they have to go through arbitration. But regardless of what Nathaniel Lowe's situation is, if he doesn't come back, that is horrendous. And then what's going to happen if Trevor Story decides to opt out? Because he's getting paid relatively on the cheap compared to his position. You have Marcelo Meyer and Nate Eaton at third. Shortstop, David Hamilton and Ceddanne Rafaela as the backup shortstop. Also, Nick Sogard and David Hamilton in second, and Romy Gonzalez, Tristan Casas at first. I'm worried about our bullpen depth. I'm worried about fielding a solid five pitcher rotation. All of a sudden, this pops up. Like, holy crap. Bregman's out. If Story opts out, we have nobody in the infield. It is an utter catastrophe what our infield looks like. Basing it on the fact that Bregman has opted out and is not returning. Story will opt out and won't return either. Again, those are all question marks on will they, won't they. But as things currently stand, and yes, the postseason isn't done, free agency isn't open yet, blah, 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 say what you want, I know. But again, if you were to field the roster today with every move that just happened, you can't field out a roster. Because that is not a major league infield by any stretch of the imagination. And so I'm worried. Breslow and John Henry need to go out and spend the money. They need to get active and make moves. Yes, I want Hunter Green. Yes, I want Joe Ryan. Yes, I want Dylan Cease. I want to have everybody out there. Schwarber, Pete Alonso. It would be great. But we need to make sure that we have a freaking middle infield, even a left side of the infield. We need a right side of the infield and a left side of the infield. Ketel Marte, I've heard floated rumors, trading to Boston. I think those are fans doing that, but worth noting. Again, it would be a massive upgrade at second base. But we need that. We need that. Because we get Bregman back, that means we put Meyer at second. Or we put Meyer at short and Story at second. Put Story back to second base. Especially with the amount of errors that Story had this season. That's the crazy thing. And that's why I looked at it. I'm like, holy crap. And again, I said this last week, or when talking about going into the Yankee series and looking at the lineup 1 through 9. And even I was like, oh no. That is a bad lineup. Ref Snyder, Romy, Sogard, all those guys. It was not a pretty sight. Not a pretty sight by any stretch of the imagination. So this is going to absolutely be a big offseason for Craig Breslow and for the Boston Red Sox, as it is every offseason. We don't have a first baseman. I like Nathaniel Lowe, but is he going to be the type of guy to, is he going to be good enough here at Fenway for 162 games? And if not, let's go get a big bat, because we need it. Regardless, we need a big bat.